any man can put on a skirt, say, I'm a woman, and go into the bathroom.
This framing, while emotionally charged, oversimplifies a nuanced issue. The vast majority of trans people are just trying to live their lives without judgment or fear. But we'll dig in further shortly.
I've gone to the bathroom next to a man. Oh my goodness, it was so fearful.
If I found you lurking next to me in a men's restroom, I'd feel fearful.
Today, we're revisiting another heated issue with Piers Morgan as he takes on the issue of the trans bathroom debate. The discussion features voices from across the spectrum, including Congressman Nancy Mace. We'll unpack bold statements, heated exchanges, and some serious double standards on both sides. By the end, you'll see how this debate isn't just about bathrooms, it's about the polarization of basic rights and safety concerns.
Representative Mace explained her position like this.
I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I'm not going to stand for it.
Nancy Mace's words hit hard, showcasing her as someone willing to take a stand. Her appeal to emotion is deeply personal, rooted in her experience as a sexual abuse survivor. For her, this isn't just policy, it's about safety and personal trauma. However, we must ask, are policies that affect millions of people best shaped by one person's individual pain? Trauma is powerful, but it can also create blind spots. While their passion is undeniable, there's a danger in letting fear alone dictate broad policies that impact the rights of a marginalized group like the trans community. This is where the debate starts to show cracks.
Let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman.
This is a seismic shift in our recent culture, whether you agree with Mike Johnson or not. And actually, I do. And liberals are now extremely angry about it, as they are about most things. At the heart of the latest row is a bill introduced by Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Now, liberals are fighting to deny her right as a sexual abuse victim to feel safe in women's spaces.
Dismissing the concerns of conservatives as trivial and out of touch is dangerous. But it also risks alienating moderates who see validity in women's safety concerns. It downplays the deeply ingrained fears some women had. His approach underscores a larger problem on the left, the tendency to dismiss these concerns outright rather than engaging with them empathetically. This flippant attitude often reinforces division instead of bridging it.
Let's take a look at the Nancy Mace explanation as to why she's doing this.
I'm a rape survivor. I have PTSD from the abuse I've suffered at the hands of a man, and I know how vulnerable women and girls are in private spaces. So I'm absolutely 100% going to stand in the way of any man who wants to be in a women's restroom, in our locker rooms, in our changing rooms.
I don't get it.
Why,
You're all about women's rights. You know it's unfair.
Said sports league, but actually we're talking here about Nancy Mace, who loves a camera in her face and loves attention wherever she can get it.
Emma doesn't pull any punches here, accusing Nancy Mace of being more interested in attention than meaningful policy making. While this critique might hold some truth, politicians often capitalize on cultural flashpoints. It feels unnecessarily personal. By focusing on Mace's character rather than her argument, Emma risks losing the audience's trust. This is a common misstep in debate, attacking a person rather than their ideas. Even if Nancy Mace's motives are questionable, dismissing her argument outright misses the opportunity to engage with the real concerns she's voicing. This approach doesn't advance the conversation, it just adds more fuel to the fire, making it harder to find actual solutions.
You know, I find it pretty disgusting that she is basically implying that this trans lawmaker, just by being in her presence in the bathroom, may rape her. So apparently it's triggering for her because someone's genitalia may be slightly different.
All of them, I would feel fearful.
You would feel uncomfortable? Why would you feel uncomfortable?
If you were lurking around me in a men's urinal, damn right I'd feel uncomfortable.
Lurking? Who's lurking?
Well, what else would you be doing there?
Going to the restroom.
Stick in your own restroom.
It's incredible. You are linking sexual abuse and sexual assault to trans people inherently, and that is a bigoted.
This hits a critical point in the conversation, calling out the dangerous narrative that connects trans identity with predatory behavior. There's right for pushback. Such claims perpetuate harmful stereotypes that have no basis in reality. However, the tone here might alienate those who are genuinely fearful or uncertain about these policies. It is one thing to challenge bigotry. It's another to assume everyone who disagrees is acting in bad faith. This is where the left often struggles. They focus so much on condemning the rhetoric of the right that they forget to address the underlying fears and concerns of everyday people. A more balanced approach, acknowledging fears while presenting facts, might have made the argument stronger.
And I don't know why you're so offended that women want to be able to use the bathroom without men in their presence. That is something that is totally normal and fair to ask.
I just find it amazing. Honestly, I find it amazing that on the left, if we talk about abortion, all hell breaks loose. Women should be protected. Women must feel safe. Women must have rights. Women should have autonomy over their bodies. And yet when it comes to sport, you're quite happy for biological males.
In County, Virginia, you had a young girl who was raped in her school bathroom, a place where she is meant to feel safe, by a trans-identifying student in the state of New Jersey.
This tragic case is often cited as definitive proof by conservatives that trans-inclusive policies can lead to harm. It is an emotionally charged story, and understandably so. No one wants to see a child harmed, let alone in a place where they are supposed to feel safe. But here's where the argument gets murky. This isolated incident, as horrific as it is, does not represent the behavior of the broader trans community. Using one case to legislate against an entire group is reactionary and unfair. However, it does point to a need for safeguards that ensure everyone, women, girls, and trans individuals, feel secure in shared spaces. The debate cannot ignore this incident, but it also cannot let it define the conversation entirely.
In the data, increase in assaults with trans people in the bathroom they identify with, but you do see when they're forced to go into the bathroom they don't identify with or that's aligned with the biological sex they were born as, an increase in assaults on the trans person. So that's important to remember.
This is where the debate shifts from emotion to evidence, and it is an important moment. Studies consistently show that trans-inclusive bathroom policies do not lead to an uptick in assaults. In fact, trans individuals are often more likely to be victims of violence when forced to use bathrooms that do not align with their gender identity. But here's the catch. Data does not always alleviate fear. For many, this is not about statistics, it is about how they feel in vulnerable spaces. This is a classic clash between logic and emotion. And this is where progressives often falter. They rely on data without addressing the emotional side of the argument. To win over skeptics, you need both.
I totally agree
but on
with
the bathroom.
Well, hang on.
Hear what
I
said?
totally agree with Trump about the sport thing. Trans women athletes should not be allowed to compete against women. They should have their own category, or they should compete against a category most of them used to compete in, which is the men's category. But the reason they don't is they're making far more money and they're far more successful competing against women because they have an unfair advantage. And that's what's wrong with it.
This debate covers and includes the cultural divide dominating modern politics. On one side, you have those advocating for safety and tradition. On the other, those supporting inclusion and progress. But both perspectives stem from valid concerns. But the path forward requires empathy and a willingness to engage with opposing views. Piers Morgan might claim the left has lost common sense, but this issue is a reminder that solutions lie in the middle ground, not in polarized shouting matches. When you side with Pierce, one thing is clear, this debate is far from over.